Welcome back to day 4 of your virtual theme park holiday here on Hold Tight Riders. We're spending 7 days taking you on an adventure like never before, calling it in at one of our favourite theme parks or fun fairs every day along the way. So far, we've been travelling around the Netherlands and have visited Kermies Best, Efteling, and Walibi Holland. We've still got 4 days to go, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out.
But today it's time to cross the border as we make our way to the largest theme park in northern Germany, Heide Park, with a few surprises along the way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Well, let me start by saying I hope you slept well last night, as we've got a busy one today. After hair drying ourselves dry due to the lack of towels at Walibi Holland's hotel, we are ready to embark on the longest drive so far this trip. The journey from Walibi Holland to Heide Park is a massive 4 hours and just over 400 kilometres, so we need to find something, besides McDonald's, to break that journey up a little. As luck would have it, Slagharen Theme Park falls en route, approximately 1 hour into the journey. So let's call in there for a few hours.
Slagharen is a relatively small theme park which accompanies a holiday village and a water park. Like a superior version of Butlins, I guess. The park consists of 2 main areas at either end which are joined by a central avenue with rides and shops either side. You can get from one end to the other on a good old-fashioned restraintless ski lift, which we were very excited to try. However, it is unfortunately not operating today. Advertised entry price varies between 20 and 30 euros per ticket, depending on when you book. However, we hacked this by googling for a promo code and managed to get our tickets for €9.95 each, which is absolutely mental when you consider you can get into a whole park for the same cost as one ride at Heide Park Winter Wonderland. You do of course have to pay to park the car, €7.50. The park is open 10 till 6, but obviously that doesn't mean much to us right now, as this is just a stop off to get on a few rides and break up a long drive to Soltau.
Slagharen have 2 roller coasters, one of which is the reason that we heard about the park in the first place. Goldrush opened at the park in 2017 and is a multi-launching Geslauer Infinity coaster. Don't get overly excited about hearing the words multi-launch. It's not one of the traditional coasters with multiple launches throughout the layout, but instead one of those new trendy shuttle coasters which travel back and forth over the same piece of launch track before they build up enough speed to make it around the rest of the layout. Despite what I've just said though, Goldrush is a fantastic ride and a perfect addition for this park. It's relatively smooth and comfortable, and the lap bar restraints really do add a sense of freedom as you're launched around the ride's 2 inversions. Next up is the Eagle, the park's Huss Condor ride. Always great to see one of these. As well as the Eagle, the park offers a great selection of flat rides, including a 40-metre freefall tower, Enterprise, TriStar, Pirate Ship, Polyp, Big Wheel and a log flume, but unfortunately we won't have time to try all of those today.
Slagharen does have a dark ride, which of course we're going to try. Wild West Adventure is a boat ride housed inside a big tent. Very bizarre, but quite well themed and enjoyable. there's just time for a ride on the park's other coaster, a Vekoma Junior coaster, before heading back to the car to continue our journey towards Heide Park. The remainder of the journey from Slagharan to Heide Park is around 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's 330 kilometres. As you've probably worked out by now, on the real life version of this holiday, today would be spent travelling to the next hotel, before we then visit Heide Park tomorrow. But this is a virtual holiday, so we can bend time a little and squeeze all of that into today's video. We're making our way to Heide Park's on-site accommodation, the Adventure Hotel, where we are booked in for the night.
The hotel is very nicely presented, with large rooms under a variety of different themes, including Peppa Pig, How to Train Your Dragon, Ghostbusters, Demon, Jungle, Pirate and Captain rooms. We're in a Pirate room, which is located on the top floor with a nice view out towards some of the rides. Before we settle down for the night, there's one final surprise squeezed into today's adventure: Circus Krone, one of the largest circuses in Europe, which just happens to be running not too far away from Heide Park.
Right then, it's finally time to check out Heide Park for the first time. As hotel guests, we're able to enter the park through an entrance in the hotel gardens. The park is open 10 till 7 today, so we should have plenty of time to get on most of the 9 coasters this park has on offer. The park is built around a large central lake, which makes for some great views of the rides. But we'll see more of that later when we have a ride on the observation tower.
The park's vertical drop coaster is Krake, or Cracker. But Cracker? I'm not too sure. Google does however tell me that it translates from German to octopus, which explains the theming somewhat. This B&M dive machine opened in 2011 and uses the smaller 6 across trains, the same as Baron 1898, which we rode on day 2 at Efteling. This one is however a little shorter than Baron and features a drop, water splash, Immelman, and then an airtime hill before you hit the brake run. The water splash is definitely the ride's party piece, and it does look brilliant from off-ride. From one B&M to another, the The park's newest coaster is Flug der Damonen, or Flight of the Demons. This Blm Winged Coaster opened in 2014 and sits really nicely in a themed little pocket of the park. Similar to the Swarm at Thorpe Park, Flug der Damonen begins with a wing-over dive drop. After this, the rest of the layout follows a different path and includes 5 inversions.
To film or take pictures on rides is strictly prohibited.
What really struck us was how good this ride looks amongst the landscape of the park. Although this was a little short-lived when we realised that the area used to be home to an elaborately themed Schwarzkopf log flume, which had been removed to build the wing coaster. Well, I say removed. In fact, 90% of the ride is still there, just hidden by trees. The ride, Wild Wasserbahn 2, operated at the park between 1990 and 2011. It's said that some of the old boats have been sold to enthusiasts in the local area, so we'll keep an eye out for them.
Also in this area of the park is Bobbahn, a Mack bobsled, and the longest one they've ever built at over 3,000 foot long. The park's drop tower, Scream, actually started life as an observation tower. It was converted to a drop tower by Intamin at the end of the 2002 season. The park's signature ride, and one which dominates the skyline, is Colossus. Colossus first opened in 2001, and it was the first Intamin wooden roller coaster with prefabricated track to open in the world. To this day, there are still only 4 of them worldwide and only 2 in Europe, the other of which being Balder at Liseberg in Sweden. This is a huge ride with over 4,000 feet of track and a 160-foot drop. It was actually closed midway through the 2016 season due to essential maintenance being required, and it was retracked and reopened with new trains at the start of 2019. Colossus is a brilliant coaster, very smooth and with tons of airtime over the hills. It doesn't ride like your typical Woody, and you'd be forgiven for thinking it felt more like a steel coaster.
Here we are now on board the park's observation tower, which gives excellent views around the entire park, reaching a height of 75 metres. The scale of the park becomes apparent from this height. Heide Park is the largest amusement park in northern Germany, with a total area of around 850,000 square metres. It was first developed by showman Hans-Jürgen Thiemann and opened in 1978, but the park has since changed owners and has been operated by Merlin Entertainment since 2007. Entry to the park costs €49 on the day, although you can save quite a bit by booking online in advance, where tickets are €34. A couple of coasters to mention that can be seen from the observation tower are Desert Race, or Dessert Race, and Limit. The former is a clone of Rita at Alton Towers, with a slightly different ending. The second is a Vekoma SLC, which is, well, exactly what you'd expect from a Vekoma SLC. Anyway, we'll leave you to soak in the views.
was ich meine? Ihr könnt euch im Kreis drehen, Kopf überhängen und dann mal versehen. Bei einem Stopp könnt ihr den Abenteurern von Limit und Big Loop direkt ins Gesicht schauen.
The monorail takes a scenic route around the lake and travels straight through the middle of Big Loop, a Vekoma looping coaster not too dissimilar from Python that we rode at Efteling the other day. Well, similar in the sense that it also has 2 vertical loops, 2 corkscrews, and started with arrow trains but now has Vekoma ones.
I'd like to think, like 20, 30 years ago.
In fact, the trains used on Big Loop are actually the old trains from Alton Towers Corkscrew.
Mutter und gerade sind wieder Drachenbabys geschlüpft. Das ist seltsam. Ich kann gar keinen von ihnen sehen. Ich frage mich, wohin sie gegangen sind. Da vorne ist eine Drachenhöhle. Lasst uns dort mal.
Festhalten! Es geht los!
After a very snazzy beer, what better to do than take a ride on the park's miniature railway, the Heide Park Express. Another day is drawing to a close, and with that, another great park has been visited. Heide Park has a strong coaster lineup, and its layout around the central lake makes it feel a very pleasant park to be walking around for the day.
We've got another big drive ahead of us tonight, back to the other side of Germany, ready for tomorrow's theme park. But guess what we've just found outside a nearby hotel? That's right, one of the original flume boats from Wildwasser 2. Anyway, get yourself a good night's sleep, as tomorrow we're visiting the one and only Fantasyland. It's a 4-hour drive from Heide Park, so leave us to the driving and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.